The void speaks. Sentinel Station Delta hung in the darkness at the edge of human-controlled space, a beacon of civilization against the vast emptiness. Like a lighthouse at the edge of an infinite ocean, it marked the boundary between the known and the unknown. Its metal frame gleamed faintly under the distant starlight, rotating slowly to generate artificial gravity for the 53 crew members who called it home. Commander Elena Rice stood in the observation deck, her dark eyes reflecting the endless void before her. 20 years in space had etched fine lines around her eyes, but had done nothing to diminish the sharp intelligence in her gaze. She took a sip of her coffee, grimacing at the synthetic taste that no amount of technological advancement seemed able to improve. Another quiet shift, she murmured to herself, not expecting anything different. Delta Station's primary purpose was scientific, monitoring cosmic radiation, cataloging stellar phenomena, and serving as an early warning system for solar flares that could disrupt communications across the colonies. It wasn't exactly a hop of excitement. The soft chime of the intercom broke her contemplation. "Commander Rice to Sensor Control, Priority 1, came the voice of Lieutenant Wizon, the station's lead sensor analyst. There was an edge to his voice that made Rice set down her coffee immediately. 3 minutes later, she strode into Sensor Control, a circular room dominated by holographic displays, showing various sections of space around the station. Zhang, a thin man with perpetually worried eyes, was hunched over his console. "Report," Rice said simply. "We detected it 19 minutes ago," Zhang replied, his fingers dancing across the control surface. "At first, I thought it was a sensor ghost, but 3 separate systems have confirmed it." The main display shifted to show a section of empty space, then zoomed in dramatically. A single object appeared, moving in a perfectly straight line. "What am I looking at, Lieutenant?" "That's just it, Commander. We don't know. It's approximately cylindrical, roughly 400 meters in length. No heat signature, no electromagnetic emissions, no radiation. It's just there." Rice frowned. "A derelict ship, maybe. Something adrift." "No, that's what makes this unusual. It's moving at exactly 0.3 c, 30% of light speed, and maintaining a perfectly straight course. No drift whatsoever." Captain Rice studied the object. "Natural phenomena don't move like that." "No, they don't," Zhang agreed. "And there's more. It's on a direct intercept course with Delta Station." The control room fell silent. Rice felt a cold sensation creep up her spine. Time to intercept. At current velocity, approximately 6 hours. Rice straightened her uniform in a habitual gesture. "Have you attempted communication?" "On all frequencies, using standard first contact protocols." "No response." "And our database? Any match to known ships or objects?" Zhang shook his head. "Nothing. It doesn't match any human design, and nothing in our records of the Centauri Compact or Tau Merchant Guild vessels either." "Alert status yellow," Rice decided. "I want continuous monitoring and a communication attempt every 15 minutes. Notify Earth Command immediately with all data, and prep a reconnaissance drone. I want closer visuals." As the crew scrambled to follow her orders, Rice studied the image on the screen. Something about the object's perfect symmetry and unwavering course sent a primal shiver through her. In 20 years of space duty, she had never encountered anything quite like this. 3 hours later, the situation had not improved. The reconnaissance drone had reached the object and transmitted detailed imagery before inexplicably going offline. The cylindrical vessel, if it was a vessel, was perfectly smooth, with no visible seams, windows, or propulsion systems. Its surface was a deep, non-reflective black that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. "It's beautiful, in a way," murmured Dr. Karina Ndiaye, the station's xenobiologist, who had joined the growing team in sensor control. "Completely featureless, yet somehow deliberate. And still no response to communications." Rice asked. "None," replied Communications Officer Paddle. We've tried every frequency, every known protocol, even basic mathematical sequences. If there's anyone home, they're not answering the door. Rice tapped her fingers against the console. Options. Chief Engineer Malcolm Barrett cleared his throat. We could attempt to alter its course with our maintenance tugs. At that velocity, Zhang scoffed. The tugs would be destroyed on impact. We could evacuate, suggested Security Chief Kovalev. The emergency shuttles could reach the jump point before intercept. Rice shook her head. Sentinel Delta is a 7 billion credit installation. We don't abandon it without exhausting every option. She paused, considering. What about our defensive measures? The station wasn't a military installation, but it did have point defense lasers for clearing space debris and a small complement of missiles for extreme emergencies. The lasers might deflect it if it's light enough, Barrett offered doubtfully. But at that mass and velocity, likely minimal effect. And missiles? Rice pressed. We have 4 kinetic interceptors, Kovalev said, designed for breaking up asteroids that drift too close. They could potentially fragment the object, but at this range. He trailed off, the implications clear. Even fragmented, the object's momentum would carry the pieces into the station. 2 hours to intercept, Zhang announced, his voice tight. Rice made her decision. Prepare the lasers. Full power. Target the leading edge of the object. Let's see if we can at least get a reaction. 20 minutes later, the station's defense grid fired. Brilliant beams of concentrated energy lanced out across the void, striking the approaching object with precision. For several long seconds, the lasers continued to fire. No effect, John reported, disbelief in his voice. The energy is just absorbed. No temperature increase, no structural damage. Nothing. A murmur of unease passed through the control room. 1 hour to intercept, Zhang updated grimly. Earth Command's response arrived moments later. Continue defensive measures. Evacuation authorized if necessary. Reinforcements dispatched, but will not arrive before intercept. You are authorized to use all available resources to protect the station. Helpful, Rice muttered under her breath. Commander, Dr. Ndiaye said suddenly, what if we're thinking about this all wrong? What if it's not a weapon or a ship, but a probe? A messenger of some kind. A messenger that ignores all attempts at communication. Kovalev asked skeptically. Maybe it communicates differently, Ndiaye insisted. Maybe it's waiting for the right question or the right circumstance. Rice considered this. What do you suggest, Doctor? Let's try something more basic, more primal. Electromagnetic pulses in simple patterns, light signals, perhaps even vibrations through the station's exterior hull that it might sense as it approaches. Do it, Rice ordered. Try everything. We've got nothing to lose. For the next 45 minutes, Delta Station tried every conceivable method of communication. They flashed exterior lights in mathematical sequences, transmitted simple binary code via direct laser, and even used the station's external speakers to send sound waves into the vacuum, knowing they wouldn't travel but hoping the vibrations might be detected. Nothing worked. The object continued its unwavering approach. 30 minutes to intercept, Zhang announced. The control room had gone quiet, each person lost in their own thoughts as they watched the inevitable approach on the screens. Begin evacuation procedures, Rice finally ordered. All non-essential personnel to the emergency shuttles. As the evacuation order echoed throughout the station, something unexpected happened. The object slowed. Commander, Zhang called out, excitement in his voice. It's decelerating. All eyes turned to the main display. The cylindrical object had indeed begun to slow, its velocity dropping rapidly but in a controlled manner. It hurt us, Dr. Ndiaye whispered. Somehow, it hurt us. Or it's preparing to do something else, Kovalev warned. Stay alert. The object continued to decelerate until it matched the station's orbital velocity, coming to a relative stop approximately 1 kilometer away. Up close, its size was even more impressive, a perfect obsidian cylinder against the starfield. "Now what?" Barrett asked. As if in answer, a section of the object's surface began to change. The featureless black material seemed to ripple, then part, revealing the deeper darkness within. It was an opening, a doorway of sorts. "It's inviting us in," Dr. Ndiaye said, awe in her voice. "Or it's about to launch something at us," Kovalev countered. "Cancel evacuation," Reyes decided. "But keep the shuttles ready." She turned to her team. "Prepare a shuttle. Small team, myself, Dr. Ndiaye, Lieutenant Zhang, and Chief Kovalev. Commander, regulations state that the station commander should not." Kovalev began. "This is first contact, Chief," Reyes cut him off. "I'm not sending my people in there without me." Her tone made it clear the matter was not up for discussion. 30 minutes later, their shuttle approached the massive cylinder, its black surface swallowing their floodlights rather than reflecting them. The opening remained, a perfect rectangular void in the otherwise featureless surface. "No detectable atmosphere inside," John reported from his instruments. "Temperature near absolute zero. No electromagnetic fields. It's just empty." "We go in suited," Reyes decided. "Full EVA protocol." As their shuttle carefully maneuvered through the opening, they found themselves in a vast chamber that seemed to extend the entire length of the cylinder. The interior was as featureless as the exterior, smooth black surfaces with no visible technology, controls, or indications of habitation. "This doesn't make sense," Kovalev muttered over the comm. "No propulsion system, no life support, no control systems. How does this thing move? How does it function?" "Maybe we're not seeing it correctly," Dr. Ndiaye suggested. "Maybe our perceptions or our technology isn't capable of interpreting what's actually here." They proceeded deeper into the chamber, their helmet lights barely penetrating the overwhelming darkness. Then, without warning, the darkness began to change. Points of light appeared all around them. Countless tiny sparks that began to arrange themselves in three-dimensional patterns. It's a star map," John realized aloud, "but not of any region I recognize." The lights continued to shift and move, forming new configurations. Suddenly, the entire chamber was filled with light, a perfect three-dimensional representation of the Milky Way galaxy. "My God," Reyes breathed. "It's beautiful." A single point of light pulsed brighter than the others, their location. Then, from that point, a line of light stretched outward, extending to the galactic edge, then beyond, reaching toward a neighboring galaxy. "It's showing us a path," Dr. Ndiaye said. "A journey." Before they could process this information, the light display changed again. New shapes formed, not stars this time, but symbols. Complex, flowing patterns that seemed to shift and change even as they watched. "It's trying to communicate," Zhang said excitedly. "Can we respond?" Reyes asked. "Can we show it we understand?" "I don't know if we do understand," Dr. Ndiaye admitted. "But yes, I think we can respond." Using the shuttle's external lights, they flashed a simple binary sequence, the first few prime numbers, a universal mathematical language. The response was immediate and astonishing. The entire chamber came alive with light and movement. The symbols multiplied, becoming more complex, more nuanced. And then they began to coalesce, forming a shape that was unmistakably humanoid. "It's studying us," Ndiaye whispered, "learning from us." The humanoid figure of light approached their shuttle, stopping just meters away. It raised a hand in what seemed like a gesture of greeting. "Hello," Reyes said simply, knowing her voice wouldn't carry in the vacuum, but hoping the intention might somehow be understood. The figure inclined its head, then dissolved back into countless points of light. These lights began to form new patterns, images that told a story. They showed stellar systems, planets, and what appeared to be other vessels similar to the cylinder they were in. "It's showing us its journey," Zhang interpreted, "where it came from, what it's seen." But why come here? Kovalev asked. Why approach our station like this? The lights shifted again, forming a new image, a massive wave of darkness moving between galaxies, consuming everything in its path. It's a warning. Rise realized, a chill running through her. It's warning us about something coming. Humanity's answer. The return to Sentinel Station Delta was conducted in tense silence. Each member of the away team was lost in their own thoughts, processing what they had witnessed inside the alien cylinder. The implications were staggering, not just confirmation of intelligent life beyond Earth, but a warning of a threat on a scale humanity had never contemplated. As soon as they docked, Commander Reyes called an emergency meeting in the station's conference room. The holographic displays showed the continuing feed from their sensors. The black cylinder still hanging motionless in space, its doorway now closed, its surface once again featureless. Let's break this down, Reyes began, her voice steady despite the enormity of the situation. What exactly did we see in there? Dr. Indier spoke first. An advanced form of communication. Light-based, symbolic, adaptive. It analyzed our responses and adjusted its message accordingly. And the message itself, Reyes prompted. A warning, Zhang said firmly. That darkness it showed us. It was moving between galaxies, consuming everything. I don't know what it is, but it's coming. Coming here? Kovalev asked. To our solar system, our galaxy. Eventually, yes. Nindiai nodded. But the time frame is unclear. It could be years, decades, or centuries. And this cylinder, Reyes continued, it's what? A messenger? A refugee? I think it's both, Zhang said. Based on the star maps it showed us, it's traveled an incredible distance, possibly from another galaxy entirely. I think it's been sent to warn other intelligent species about this threat. Or, Kovalev interjected, it could be a scout. An advanced probe to assess our capabilities before the real threat arrives. Reyes considered this. Either way, we need to report everything to Earth Command immediately. This goes beyond our station, beyond any single colony or nation. This is about the survival of our species. The transmission to Earth took 11 minutes to send. Every detail of their encounter, every scan, every image they had captured inside the cylinder. The response, when it finally came, was brief. Maintain observation. Full task force en route. Estimated arrival. 36 hours. Share nothing with the object until further instructions. That's it. Barrett asked incredulously. We make the most significant discovery in human history, and they tell us to sit on our hands. They're afraid, Nindier said quietly. And I don't blame them. This changes everything we thought we knew about our place in the universe. What do we do now, Commander? Zhang asked. Reyes stood up, decision made. We follow orders. Partly. We maintain observation, but we don't just sit here. If this thing wanted to harm us, it could have done so already. Instead, it tried to communicate. I want to understand what it's telling us before the military arrives and potentially turns this into a confrontation. Over the next 12 hours, they worked tirelessly. Zhang and Didier developed a rudimentary translation matrix based on the symbolic patterns they had observed. Barrett modified the station's external communication array to better replicate the light-based language of the cylinder. Kovalev, still suspicious, kept the station's defenses on standby, monitoring for any change in the object's status. I think we're ready for another attempt, Nindiai announced finally. The patterns were mathematical at their core, universal constants, atomic structures, gravitational equations. With Barrett's modifications, we should be able to send a coherent message. What message? Reyes asked. A simple one, Zhang suggested. We understand your warning. We want to know more. How can we prepare? Reyes nodded approval. Send it. They transmitted the message using precise configurations of light pulses. For several long minutes, there was no response. Then, without warning, The cylinder began to move again. It glided closer to the station, stopping just 500 meters away. "Hold defensive positions," Rise ordered as tension filled the control room. But no aggressive actions. The surface of the cylinder rippled once more, the doorway reappearing. But this time, something emerged. A smaller object, roughly spherical, about 2 meters in diameter, detached from the cylinder and moved slowly toward the station. "Scan it," Rise commanded. "Minimal power signature," John reported. "No detectable weapons. I think it's a gift." The sphere stopped just outside the station's main airlock, hovering in place. "I'm going out there," Rise decided. "Commander, with all due respect," Kovalev began. "Note your objection, Chief," Rise cut him off. "But this is my decision." 20 minutes later, suited up for EVA, Rise approached the hovering sphere. Up close, its surface had a similar quality to the cylinder, deep black, absorbing light, but with subtle patterns that seemed to shift when viewed from different angles. "I'm at the object," she reported back to the station. "No reaction to my presence yet." As she reached out a gloved hand toward the sphere, its surface changed. A section of it became transparent, revealing what appeared to be a complex mechanism inside. Intricate crystalline structures arranged around a central core that pulsed with soft blue light. "It's some kind of technology," Rise described. "Unlike anything I've seen before." "Can you bring it inside?" Nindiai asked over the comm. "I'm going to try." The sphere offered no resistance as Rise carefully guided it toward the airlock. Once inside the station, they moved it to a secure laboratory for examination. Close inspection revealed that the crystalline structures were not static, but constantly shifting at a microscopic level, reorganizing themselves in complex patterns. "It's computing something," Merritt suggested after running several non-invasive scans. "These patterns, they're similar to our most advanced quantum computing matrices, but orders of magnitude more complex." "What is it computing?" Rise asked. "I don't know, but it's generating a lot of data. Look at these energy fluctuations. It's like it's running millions of simulations simultaneously." Dr. Ndiaye approached the sphere cautiously. "I think it's trying to find a way to communicate with us more directly. It's learning our language, our technology, our thought patterns." As if confirming her theory, the central core suddenly pulsed brighter, and a holographic display materialized above the sphere. The image was initially chaotic, a swirl of colors and shapes, but quickly resolved into a representation of the Milky Way galaxy. "It's showing us what we saw inside the cylinder," Zhang observed, "but with more detail." The display zoomed in on a specific region of the galaxy, the Orion Arm, where Earth's solar system was located. Then it showed a wave of darkness approaching, a timeline appearing below the image. Numbers flashed by, incomprehensible at first. "Those are years," Nindiaye realized. "It's giving us a time frame." According to the sphere's calculations, the mysterious darkness would reach their galaxy in approximately 150 years. "A century and a half," Rise murmured. "That's not much time on a cosmic scale." The hologram shifted again, showing various solar systems being consumed by the darkness. Then it displayed multiple cylindrical vessels, like the one outside their station, traveling away from the devastation. "They're refugees," Zhang said quietly. "Their civilization was destroyed by this, whatever it is. They sent these messengers to warn others." "But why?" Kovalev asked. "Why warn species they've never met?" The answer came in the next sequence. The hologram showed multiple civilizations joining forces, developing massive structures in space, creating technologies that pushed back against the darkness. The message was clear. Alone, no species could survive. Together, there was a chance. "It's not just warning us," Rice said, understanding dawning. "It's recruiting us." Before they could discuss this further, the station's comm system activated. "Commander Rice, Earth Defense Vessel Aegis has arrived and is requesting permission to dock." Admiral Chen sends his compliments and says he's looking forward to hearing your report firsthand. Rice exchanged glances with her team. Tell Admiral Chen we'll meet him at the docking bay. 2 hours later, Rice found herself facing a panel of stern-faced military officers in the station's largest conference room. Admiral Chen, a compact man with penetrating eyes and a reputation for ruthless efficiency, led the questioning. "Let me get this straight, Commander," Chen said after her report. "You brought an alien artifact onto this station without authorization." "With respect, Admiral, the situation required immediate action," Rice replied evenly. "The artifact has provided critical information about a threat to our entire galaxy. A threat that won't arrive for 150 years, according to your report," Chen noted skeptically. "Convenient timing. Long enough that we can't verify it. Short enough to create urgency." "The evidence is compelling, Admiral," Dr. Ndiaye interjected. "The mathematical models, the stellar cartography. It all checks out. This isn't a hoax or a trick." Chen's expression remained impassive. "Perhaps, but my orders are clear. The cylinder and this sphere will be transported to Earth for further study under controlled conditions. Your station will be temporarily decommissioned pending a full investigation." "Admiral, I must object," Rice said, standing. "We've established a rapport with this intelligence. Moving it now could jeopardize everything we've learned." "Your objection is noted, Commander," Chen replied coldly. "But this is no longer your decision. This is a matter of planetary security now." As the meeting broke up, Rice pulled her core team aside. "This isn't right," she said in a low voice. "They're treating this like a weapon to be secured rather than a message to be understood." "What can we do?" Barrett asked. "They've got a cruiser with a full Marine complement. We're just a research station." Rice considered for a moment. "The sphere has been analyzing our technology, our communications. It's learning at an exponential rate. Before they take it, we need to make sure it understands what's happening." They returned to the laboratory where the sphere was being kept under guard. 2 Marines stood at attention outside the door. "We need to run final diagnostics before transport," Rice informed them with all the authority she could muster. Somewhat reluctantly, the Marines allowed them entry. Once inside, Rice approached the sphere. Its holographic display was still active, cycling through various images of star systems and technological schematics. "I don't know if you can understand me," Rice said directly to the sphere, "but they're taking you away from here. They're afraid, and they might not listen to your message. We need a way to ensure the warning reaches more people, not just military leaders." The sphere's display flickered, then showed an image of Earth surrounded by a network of communication satellites. "Yes," Rice nodded. "Our global communication network. Can you access it?" The display shifted again, showing the sphere interfacing with the station's communication array, then connecting to the broader network beyond. "You want to broadcast the warning to everyone," Rice realized. "Direct to the public." Barrett looked alarmed. "Commander, that would be a direct violation of—" "I know what it would be, Chief," Rice interrupted. "The question is it the right thing to do?" Before anyone could answer, the door slid open and Admiral Chen entered, flanked by more Marines. "Time's up, Commander. We're moving the artifact now." Chen stopped short when he saw the active holographic display. "What's happening here?" "It's making a decision, Admiral," Rice said calmly. "And so are we." The sphere's surface suddenly began to glow with increasing intensity. The holographic display expanded, filling the room with images, the darkness consuming worlds, civilizations falling, the desperate flight of survivors. "What is this?" Chen demanded. "Shut it down." "We can't," Ndiaye said. "And we shouldn't. It's showing us what happened to them. What will happen to us if we don't prepare?" The images shifted again, showing different species working together, sharing technology, building massive defensive structures in space. The message was unmistakable. Cooperation was the only path to survival. "Admiral," Rice said quietly, "what if this isn't about us versus them? What if it's about all of us against something worse?" Chen stared at the display, his expression unreadable. Then, slowly, the hardness in his eyes softened. "My grandson will be my age when this threat arrives," he said, almost to himself. "What world am I leaving him?" The sphere pulsed once more, then projected a new image, a schematic for a device of some kind, intricate and complex, with annotations in an alien script that began to translate themselves into human languages. "It's giving us technology," Zhang whispered in awe. "Knowledge. A beginning," Rise agreed. "A chance." Admiral Chen studied the schematic, then turned to Reyes. "I came here expecting to contain a threat. Instead, I find an opportunity." He straightened his uniform. "My orders were to secure this technology. They didn't specify where or how it would be studied." "What are you suggesting, Admiral?" Rise asked. "That perhaps Sentinel Delta is the perfect place for this research to continue," Chen replied. "Under joint civilian and military oversight, with you and your team leading the scientific efforts." "And the cylinder?" Rise pressed. "It remains where it is for now, a testament to what's possible when different civilizations reach out to one another." Chen's lips curved in the slightest of smiles. "Perhaps humanity's first embassy to the stars." In the days that followed, more ships arrived, not just military vessels, but research ships, diplomatic envoys, even civilian observers granted special clearance. The news had spread throughout Earth's colonies. Humanity was not alone, and they had been given a chance to prepare for a threat still generations away. The sphere continued to share information, schematics for technology centuries beyond their current capabilities, but presented in ways they could begin to understand and implement. Scientists theorized that it was a seed, a repository of knowledge designed to help developing civilizations advance rapidly enough to have a fighting chance against the coming darkness. As for the cylinder, it remained in position near the station, its mission apparently complete. Occasionally, it would open once more, sharing new star maps or updated calculations. Some theorized that its creators might still exist somewhere, refugees from the destruction of their own world, waiting to see if humanity would rise to the challenge. Commander Reyes stood once more in the observation deck, looking out at the cylinder silhouetted against the stars. Admiral Chen joined her, his hands clasped behind his back. 150 years, Chen mused. "Do you think we'll be ready?" Reyes considered the question. In the 3 weeks since the cylinder's arrival, nations that had been adversaries for centuries had begun to cooperate on the new technologies. The prospect of a common threat had achieved what countless peace initiatives had failed to do. "I think we've been given something more valuable than technology," Reyes replied. "We've been given time and a reason to work together. That alone changes everything." Chen nodded thoughtfully. "My analysts tell me the first prototype defenses could be operational within a decade. From there," he trailed off, then continued more resolutely, "from there, we build, not just weapons or shields, but a civilization worthy of survival." As they spoke, a message arrived from Earth. The United Nations Security Council had unanimously approved the formation of the Sentinel Initiative, a global effort to prepare for the coming threat, with similar agreements being negotiated with the off-world colonies. "It seems humanity can unite after all," Chen observed. "All it took was an existential crisis a century and a half away." Reyes smiled faintly. "Sometimes the right message, delivered at the right time, is all it takes to change course." Outside the viewport, the stars continued their eternal dance, unaware of the tiny species that had just taken its first true steps into a larger universe. No longer alone, no longer ignorant of what lurked in the darkness between galaxies, and no longer divided in purpose. The anomaly had been detected, the warning had been delivered, and humanity's answer was beginning to take shape.